It's not the gravity.
Wake in Fright's Doc Tydon is a minor character in the book, but in the film, master thespian Donald Pleasance makes him come alive. In this pivotal scene, the protagonist John awakes in strange and squalid accommodations after a long day of drinking with new friends. After blacking out for the last few hours as the sun came up, he arises in total confusion, only to be greeted by our good doctor, who is preparing a meal with a soundtrack of opera on the turntable. He comments that it is kangaroo, but it seems to have the consistency and visual markings of refried beans. After making John a plate, he proceeds to eat the dregs straight from the pan with a spatula and white bread and ketchup to taste. In my attempt to recreate this classic example of haute cuisine, I am challenged yet freed by the lack of information on what Doc did in terms of technique or possibly other ingredients. The book has only a couple fleeting comments with some vague but additional information. So I set some criteria for myself. Any techniques besides the most basic are forbidden, as a derelict like Doc wouldn't bother. Turning the main ingredient into any type of a dish, like shepherd's pie, is also out of bounds. At the same time, I refuse to simply saute ground meat and eat it. It is not worthy of any study. It wouldn't be any fun. So after much pondering, I have some rough ideas. I am indeed taking some poetic license, but just enough to have a little fun, make a tasty meal, yet stay faithful to the story and character, and pay what I consider a proper tribute. But first, we need ground kangaroo. Let's go. Down to business. Kangaroo. The other white meat. Or is it a red meat? I don't know. So I guess this is where I start making excuses for the things that I was forced to do to vary myself from what is seen in the movie and read about in the book. Try to keep it simple as possible. I determined that a gravy was necessary to hold this mess together. But already this is, as simple as it is, it's far more gourmet than anything Doc would have put together. For what it's worth, I plan on using water for the gravy, and I had a carton of beef stock hiding in the back of the cupboard that I accidentally just came across, so I used it. Anyways, My first taste of kangaroo, here goes. As predicted, you would never know in a million years that that's not beef. I mean, mostly what I taste is the complexities of the gravy. Not getting any gaminess, nothing weird, which was my prediction. I have not had instant mash since I was in my 20s, probably. I think I ate a couple thousand in that era, but it was time to bring it back because I determined I had to eat this gravy dinner with something, and Doc would be all about instant mash. For what it's worth, I did not just reach for the Vegemite because it's Australian. I never have, but I've seen people use Marmite many times, which of course is like the British counterpart. In gravy, it's got a lot of umami, salt, etc. People put caramel color or gravy master into their gravy. You should use this. Anyways, it's a total hit. Marmite on toast, so extremely bitter it'll blow your head off. Marmite or Vegemite and gravy, it's a win. I did a couple Google searches like most popular vegetable in Australia. I found more than one that said carrots are the most popular vegetable in Australia, and that seemed like a great counterpart to this dish. This is an Alton Brown recipe. I've done glazed carrots before with just using a little bit of water, let it evaporate, and honey. Here you went for the ginger ale. So let's see how these are. Not as much going on as I would have hoped. He recommended only like a half teaspoon of chili powder, and I put a substantial amount more in, and I get a little itch in the back of my throat. Not that that chili powder is especially hot. I don't know that I taste ginger ale. I don't even know how much sweetness I'm getting. I feel like I taste carrot flavor. Not that that's bad. The thing that's nice about the kangaroo is that because it's so ridiculously lean, it gets kind of a granular texture, which is actually nice in the midst of the silkiness of the gravy. I added, besides the bacon grease that you saw me add, I moments later added some butter, and it was still super dry, and then I added some vegetable oil. So that is like lean beyond lean, which I knew going in, and I would have guessed. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to go ahead and throw a blind recommendation out there for make yourself some kangaroo for dinner. Shall I satisfy your curiosity? I am a doctor of medicine and a tramp by temperament. I'm also an alcoholic. My disease prevented me from practicing in Sydney. Out here, it's scarcely noticeable. Certainly hasn't stopped anyone from coming to see me. I collect no fees because I'm not interested in money. Anyway, I'm unreliable. But I'm accepted socially because I'm an educated man, or character. I get my food from my friends, my requirements in beer, which by some small miracle is the only alcohol I allow myself.